Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mench. In the course of my channel, I only made 2 videos on Void Linux. The first one was a year and a half ago, and the second one was 10 months ago. And in both of those videos, I used the Void automated installer to install Void Linux. Today, I'm going to install Void Linux the manual way in the TTY, very similar to the way you install Arch Linux manually. And I'm going to encrypt the installation in a real bare metal computer. So let's get to it. So right now I'm in my main production computer, which is running Arch Linux with the Qtile window manager. And on Workspace 2, I already have my web browser open up, the Brave browser, at the Void Linux website. So I'm going to do mod key 2. And here we are, we're at the website. So first thing I did was go here to download. So in my last 2 videos on Void Linux, I downloaded this live image, which I think is about 2.5 gigabytes. And it comes with an installer. And I installed Void Linux with the Xfce Desktop environment. Really, if you use this one, it's really easy. It takes less than 5 minutes. It takes a few minutes to answer the questions, and your whole installation will be finished in 5 minutes, and you won't have to do anything. You just reboot. It's going to log into the Xfce Desktop environment. It's fantastic. It takes you 5 to 10 minutes at the most, and that's it. And everything is going to work automatically. And that's how I did it in my last 2 videos. And then after the fact, I went and installed the awesome window manager and the Qtile window managers. So you could log into whichever one you wanted to. The only thing is that the installer, the automated installer, doesn't give the option to encrypt the drive. And if you use the installer, look for it, you won't see it. And it even tells you on the website. I can't remember what page it was on, but somewhere on this website it tells you that if you use their automated installer, you cannot encrypt the drive. If you want your hard drive encrypted, you got to do a manual install. So that's what I did today. I downloaded this image, this live base image. It's about 1 gigabyte. And then you have to go through a manual install by typing in all the commands, just like Arch Linux. So that's what I did. I installed this. I encrypted the installation. Then I pulled down my GitLab repository. I installed Xfce Desktop environment, the Qtile window manager, and the awesome window manager, and some of my favorite apps and my favorite configuration files. So now, like I said, I'm not going to do this in a virtual machine. I'm going to do this in a real bare metal computer, and I'm going to use my capture card to record it. So don't go away. I'll be back. Okay, so I've plugged my thumb drive or my flash drive with the Void ISO on it. Now I'm going to turn my computer on because it's a real bare metal computer. And I'm going to start smashing F12. Hopefully I can get into the boot menu. And there we are, we're in the boot menu. So I'm going to use my arrows to go to USB and hit enter. And I'm going to hit enter again. And now we're booting up to the thumb drive or the flash drive with the Void ISO on it. And we're at the login screen. Sorry about the small font, I'm going to change that. We have to log in as root, so I'm going to type in root, enter. And root password is Void Linux. And there it is. Now, right now, at this point, we can't use Control L to clear the screen, because watch what happens. See? Now, I hope you can see that. It's kind of small. So we have to use clear. I'm going to clear it. So this shell, there's 2 reasons why I'm not going to use this shell. Number 1, Control L doesn't work. And number 2, we're going to be typing in a lot of commands, and some of the commands are long and complicated. And if we make an error in the command, we can't use the up arrow to bring back the previous command or to run through the history. We have to retype the whole command. So when we're using bash, number 1, Control L clears the screen. And number 2, when we're using bash, you can use your up arrow to scroll through your history. So if we make a mistake on a command, we can use our up arrow to bring that command back, and then use our arrows just to go to the 1 digit that needs to get fixed, or the 1 letter that needs to get fixed. We don't have to retype the whole line. Okay, so I don't want to use the default shell. You can if you want. So I'm going to type in bash. And that's it. Now the control L is going to work. And now I can use my up arrows to scroll through previous commands to bring back a command where I might need to make a correction in it. Now this next step, you don't have to do, but I'm going to go through some next steps because I want to bring the Terminus font in to make the font larger so you can see what I'm doing. And unfortunately, the Terminus font is not installed by default on the ISO. I'm going to type in Terminus font, and I'm going to hit enter. Oh, and it's not going to work. So now I'm going to do this. I'm not sure what to do, so kind of know what to do, but I'm going to do xbps install. Now, this command is for updating the system, but I'm not going to update the system. I just wanted to put this command in so I could get this next command that I have to use. So I'm going to type in this command. And this command is not part of the instructions on how to install Void Linux the manual way. I'm going through all this because I just want to bring down the Terminus font so you can see what I'm doing. I just have to install these 4 packages, and then it's going to let me install the Terminus font, and then we can get on with our installation. Let's clear the screen, right? And let's hit enter, and so now we're installing the Terminus font. Okay, let's clear the screen. Let's type in set font tier -132b. There we go. Okay, so all that stuff you didn't have to do. I'm just doing it for you so you can see what I'm typing into the terminal, the TTY, right? So first I'm going to do lsblk. So we can see SDB is where I have the 16 gig thumb drive or flash drive plugged into the computer, which has the Void Linux ISO on it. SDA is my internal hard drive, and it's a mechanical hard drive, by the way, and it's 1 terabyte. So we're going to do our installation on SDA because SDB is the flash drive with the Void Linux ISO on it. So now I'm going to type in cfdisk dev SDA. And I already have something installed on there. So I'm going to delete that partition. And now it's all free space. I have 1 terabyte of free space. And then I'm going to make sure I'm on new. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to use up the whole terabyte. Hit enter. I'm going to make it primary. And I'm going to go over here and make it bootable. And I'm using my arrows to go back and forth, right? I'm going to make it bootable. Then I'm going to use my arrows to go to right. And I hit enter. And I'm going to type in the word yes. And now I'm going to quit. So we just created a new partition and deleted the installation that was already on there. So now I'm going to do an lsblk. And we're going to encrypt a partition. So I'm going to type in this command. And notice that Lux format is 1 word. And notice that the F in format is capitalized. And you also have to make sure you get the right drive. So I'm installing this on SDA. So it's SDA1. I'm going to hit enter. Now it's asking me to type in yes in capitals. So I'm going to put my cap locks on, type in yes, hit enter. Now it's asking me to enter a password. First of all, I'm going to take my cap locks off, because I don't want my password to be in capital letters. So I'm going to put a password in. I'm verifying my password, and that's done. Now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to type in this command. Now notice the word Lux open is 1 word, and notice the O for open is capitalized. And then at the end of the line, I typed in my drive. Now that can be whatever you want. So we're going to give our encrypted drive a name, and you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it my drive. We're going to have to use this name in many places and other configuration files and in lines that we have to type out. So remember what that name is. And now I'm going to hit enter. And it's asking me for the password. I'm going to put the password in that we made before. And it's going to open the drive or unlock the drive. So now I'm going to type in this line, and notice I have the name of my encryption, which is my drive. I have it in there twice. It's the second word and the last word. So whatever you named your partition, you have to put it in there twice in those spots. I'm going to hit enter. So notice that the L after the root, the -L, notice that the L is capitalized. And notice I have the name of my encryption, my drive, at the end of the line. I'm going to hit enter. So notice on this line, notice a -L this time is not capitalized. It's a small l. So it's not a capitalized I or a 1. It's a dash small l. And notice 100% free is capitalized. And notice I have the name of my encryption again, my drive, at the end of the line. So now I'm going to hit enter and clear the screen. So notice that the -L is capitalized. And notice the second last word is the name of my encryption, my drive. We're making a file system for root. Clear the screen. So notice that the -L is capitalized. And notice I have again, the second last word is the name of my encryption, my drive. I'm making a file system for my home partition. So I'm typing in this command to mount my root partition. And notice the name my drive is in there, or whatever name you gave yours. I'm going to hit enter. Let's clear the screen. So typing in this command, I'm making a directory to mount my home partition. It's going to be mounted in mount home. Okay. I'm going to hit enter. Now I'm going to mount it. Okay. So I'm typing in this command to mount it, to mount my home partition and to mount home. And notice my drive or the name of my encryption is there again. But I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to clear the screen. And now I'm going to do an LSBLK to make sure everything worked. We see SDB is my thumb drive that has the Void Linux ISO on it. And SDA1 is labeled my drive. And my drive root is mounted to /mount. And my drive, my home partition, is mounted to /mount/home. Now I'm going to clear the screen. Okay, so we have to make a directory to copy the RS keys over. And this is the command. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's done. And now we have to copy the RSA keys into the new directory we just made. And this is the command. I'm going to clear the screen. And now we're going to install the base installation. So this is the command to type in the base system. I'm going to hit enter, and hopefully I typed it right. Oh yeah, it looks like I did. So this part of the installation takes about 5 minutes. So don't go away. I'll be back. Okay, so that took a good 5 minutes. I'm going to clear the screen. So I'm typing in this command to generate my FS tab. That's done. That was easy, eh? Now we're going to root into the system. And we're going to use this command. Oh, and I can't clear the screen with Control L because now I'm back into the default shell. So I'm going to type in bash. And now I can Control L will clear the screen. And I'll also be able to use my up arrow to bring back some history if I have to re-enter a command or fix a command without having to re-enter the whole command. I'm going to type in this command, hit enter, type in this command and hit enter. I'm setting a password for root. It's password without the O and without the R. Put my password in, re-enter my password. So I'm typing in this command to make void or the name void, the host name of my machine. And I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to clear the screen. So we're going to have to type in several commands to set the locale. And that's what I'm doing. So this is the first command. And this is the second command. I'm going to hit that. And that's the third command. And hopefully I did it right. We'll find out in a second. And I did. Now I'm going to install Vim. And while we're mounted into the system, I'm going to install Terminus font. So we installed Terminus font before we mounted into the system. But when we finish our base installation and reboot, Terminus font won't be installed. So I have to install it again now or later. And of course, I'm installing it so you can see what I'm doing in the TTY. So the font is nice and large. And let's hit enter. This shouldn't take too long. Now I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do a BLKID and I'm going to clear the screen. So I typed in this command because I'm making a file for the UID so I can copy it into Grub. Okay, so now I'm going to clear the screen. Let's do an LS. So if you see on the second line at the very end, there's a file called UUID. Well, we just created that file. So I'm going to vim into it and I'm going to look for the line that says SDA1 because that's where we're doing our install. Well, here it's at the very bottom. Sometimes it may not be at the bottom. It could be in the middle or at the top. And of course, if your install was on SDB2 or SDA3 or wherever your install was, you got to grab this line because we need the UUID. So I'm going to hit YY. I'm going to hit the letter Y twice, which is going to copy it and put it onto the clipboard. YY. Now I'm going to close the file, clear the screen. So I'm typing in this command because I'm going to vim into Xfce default grub. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to just create some space here just so I can do work. Now I'm going to hold the shift button down and hit the P and paste that in. And I'm going to go to the very end. I'm going to start deleting right to here. Then I'm going to go here and I'm going to delete. Just got to make sure you don't delete anything from the UUID. Okay, now I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to delete the quotes after 4. Okay, but I'm leaving a space and now I'm going to type some stuff in. So I'm going to type the command in like that. Now, if you type the command in wrong, you won't be able to boot into your system. Now, it is fixable if that happens. You're going to have to boot back into the system, your newly installed system, with the thumb drive of an ISO on it. And then you're going to have to, and it's complicated because you're going to have to open or decrypt the drive with your password. And then you're going to have to mount it and then make the corrections. So it's doable, but it's a little hard, especially if you've never done it before. So you really want to make sure this line is correct. Okay, now below the line, we're going to type in this command. We're going to put our caps on. So notice it's all capitalized. And notice that the word crypt to disk, you think it would have 2 T's, as in Tom, 2 Toms, but only has 1 T, crypt to disk. And then notice it's equal Y for yes, but notice the Y is small letter. Has to be typed in exactly like that. So now we're going to remove all these spaces and we're going to save the file. And hopefully I did the file right, or else we won't be able to boot into the system. And I'm going to have to go through a whole thing just to get it fixed. And then clear the screen. So now I'm going to install grub with this command. And grub was installed. Now I'm going to type in this command and hit enter. Now this takes about 5 minutes, so don't go away. I'll be back. Oh, well that didn't take 5 minutes at all. Only took a minute or 2, not even that. Now I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to set the time zone. I'm going to type in this command to set the time zone and I'm going to go down here to, I'm going down to line 20. I'm going to activate this time zone line and then I'm going to delete Europe and Madrid. Type in Canada / Eastern and I'm going to save the file and clear the screen. Now I'm going to exit. And now I'm going to LSBLK. So we can see our root and our home are still mounted. So I'm going to type in umount --R/MNT. And notice it's not unmount. There's no N in there. UN mount or unmount. It's umount. ~R/MNT. Hit enter. Clear the screen. LSBLK. And now we've unmounted. Now I'm going to exit, and now we're in a default shell, and I'm going to reboot, and hopefully we can get into our system. Oh, so we're at the grub menu, so I'm going to enter in my grub password. Now, the way we set it up right now, and I didn't do it on purpose, it's just the way you have to enter in your encryption password twice. Now, there is a way to fix it, and I'm going to fix that later in the video. Now, the instructions on the Void website have you fixing that before you even reboot into your system. But to fix it, there's quite a few commands you have to put in, and you have to go into several files and change the files. So I find it's easier to do that after the fact, because now here's the point where you have to put the encryption password in a second time. So like I was saying, I think it's easier to do it after the fact, because once my installation is finished and I've done my post installation, I'm going to open up Firefox. I'm going to go to the Void website and open up a terminal. And I'm just going to copy and paste all the commands into the terminal. If I did it now before I rebooted into my system, I'd have to type out all those commands. And I've already done enough typing. And it's easier to do it the other way, believe me. So now I got to put my I don't have a user yet, so I got to type in as root. Put root's password in, and now I'm going to type in bash because I don't want to use the default shell. I want to go into bash, and I'm going to set font here -132. So I'm going to set the font to Terminus. And I couldn't load the font. You know why? Because I typed it wrong. Forgot to be. There we go. And let's clear the screen. Always helps to type it right. So because we're in the bash, I can use my up arrow to bring it back to the last command. And there was the command. So the first time I typed it in, I forgot the B. And that's why it didn't work. So that's why I like using bash rather than that default shell. So now I'm going to create a user. I'm creating my user. I'm going to give my user a password. I'm typing in password without the O and without the R. And I'm going to give Mench a password. Now I'm going to do vim, Xfce, sudoers, and I'm going to type in root. Go next, next, and copy root, paste it in, delete root, and type in Mench. So I always give Mench user privileges this way. I don't ever make them part of the wheel group. Well, I used to a long time ago, but I don't do that anymore. And you know that if you've been following my channel. And I'm going to save it. Oh, I'm going to save it. And then I want to make Mench part of the audio group. For some reason in this system, audio will not work. Now, if you go to YouTube, you won't have any sound unless you make Mench part of the audio group. I've never had to do that before in any other installation. This is the only time I had to do that. Why? I don't know. So I'm going to type in the command like that and hit enter. Now I'm going to exit again. I'm going to log in as Mench. Put Mench's password in. Clear the screen. Then I'm going to ls-a, and I'm going to make a directory called .config because we're going to need it later. ls-a, make sure it's still there, and it is. Okay, good. Oh, and I'm going to type in groups to make sure that Mench is part of the audio group. So when we go into YouTube, we'll have audio. Like I said, I never had to do that before. So now I'm going to ping google.com. So we don't have internet, and I knew we didn't, but I wanted to show you. So I'm going to go into root because it's just easier to work. I don't have to keep typing in sudo. And I'm going to go into bash. That's better. I'm going to cd into Xfce. I'm going to ls it. I'm going to cd into sv, ls it. So I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to ls it again. And I'm going to type in this command. And now I'm going to see if I have internet. And I don't. I didn't think so. So at this time, if I reboot, if I type the command in properly, I will have internet. I don't want to reboot. So we'll type in this command and see if it starts our internet. Let's ping google.com. And there you have it. We have internet. And when we reboot, we should have internet as well. Control-C will stop that. And let's clear the screen. Let's exit out of there. Let's exit out of there. Okay, so now we're back in Mench. So now I'm going to install Git. So I'm typing in this command to install Git. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to put Mench's password in. And we are installing Git. Wow, that was fast. I'm going to clear the screen. So now I'm going to install my GitLab repository. And this command is in the show notes of all my videos. And I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to cd into Mench, ls it. So you see I have all these folders here, and I have a void folder on the last line. Well, it's at the end of the second line. There's a void folder. Now, if you installed my GitLab repository in the past, this past week, I've made a lot of changes in the void folder. So you want to cd into Mench and do a git pull, right? So you cd into Mench and just type this command in to update your Mench directory if you downloaded it a long time ago. So here it says it's already up to date because I just downloaded it. So like I said, I made a lot of changes in that void folder every day this week, even today. Okay, I'm going to cd into it, clear the screen, ls it, and I'm going to go into the second row. The second line on the second row, there's an AutoApp file. I'm going to vim into AutoApp just to show you what's in there. And I'm going to install all these packages. Now the file like this that's in my Arch folder is much bigger. I think there's about 94 lines in there. But this one I'm just going to install these. You can look at them. And I'm going to run the script. It's going to install these packages. I'm going to type it in like that. And there we go. So this is going to take it 5 or 10 minutes. So don't go away. I'll be back. Okay, so it downloaded and installed 47 packages or files. And it took about 10 minutes. So I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to ls it again. Now in the last line, the third one, you see a file called run configs. So I'm going to vim into it. So this is going to copy some wallpapers and some configuration files over to the home directory. And it's going to set my firewall. The firewall is installed now, but it's going to actually set it. Okay, so I'm going to run that. Going to get out of there, clear the screen. I type in run, put my password in, and that's finished. That was fast, eh? So I'm going to type in Zesh. And I'm going to do sudo vim Xfce password. And I'm going to go to the end of the first line and change it to Zesh. And I'm going to go down to the Mench line and change that to Zesh. And I'm going to save the file. And I'm going to exit, and log into Mench. Put my password in, clear the screen. Let's see if it's working in root. Put root's password in, and it's working in root. So now we're back in Mench. Now another command I want to type in is this. And I'm typing in this command because I want dbus to start when I reboot my system. Oh, I got to do sudo. Sorry. Put my password in, and it worked. Now let's just see if it worked. Let's go into var. Let's ls it. Let's vim into service. And we can see on line 16, dbus is there. Let's get out of here. Let's clear the screen. Let's cd. So we need dbus to be turned on. So if I reboot, if I did everything properly and I reboot, dbus should be turned on after a reboot. But I don't want to reboot. So I'm going to type in this command, sudo sv up dbus. And I type in this command just to make sure it's functioning, or to make sure it's running, and it is. I'm going to do sudo uncomplicated firewall status, and it's active. Let's do a verbose, and it's active. Deny incoming, allow outgoing. Clear the screen, and let's vim into my extended RC file. So it's set to start with awesome. Let's see if we can get into the awesome window manager. Now we're in the awesome window manager. So let's open up a terminal. Let's open up Xterm. Let's do fast fetch. So you can see I'm in Void Linux. This is a real bare metal computer, Acer Expire 3950. And right now I'm in the awesome window manager. Let's close that. So this is not a virtual machine. It's a real bare metal computer. It has 4 processors, 8 gigs of RAM and no swap. And look at this, we're in the awesome window manager and we're running at 237 megabytes of RAM. Not bad, eh? Let's close that. And let's see if we can get into Qtile. Let's clear the screen. Vim into xnrc. Let's deactivate the awesome line. Let's activate Qtile. Let's type in startx. Now we're in Qtile. Let's open up Firefox. Well, before I do that, let's close that. Let's do LX appearance. Let's turn on Ottawa Dark. Icon theme is going to be Papyrus Dark. And let's apply it. Let's open up Nemo. And there's Nemo. Let's open up Firefox again.
Qtile complete passion project. This is going to say we're playing in the background right now for this Arch install script of Omarchy.
So you can see we have sound. Now, of course, the sound didn't sound good because my main production computer is recording from this particular computer where we just did our install through a capture card, and my capture card doesn't have audio. So I recorded that audio of that video. It's coming out of the speakers and going into my microphone. So the audio doesn't sound good, but really it is good. So now I said after the fact, I was going to show you how to change it so you don't have to put your encryption password in twice. Because right now, when we boot into the system, you have to enter the encryption password twice and then the user password. And I also told you that it's going to be easier to do once the installation is finished because I'm going to copy and paste from the website. So let's open up Firefox. So I'm at the Void Linux website. I'm going to click on documentation. I'm going to click on here, old disk encryption. And these are the instructions I followed. I go down to the bottom. Right here, they're telling you during the installation to put these commands in so that before you boot into your brand new system, so you only have to enter the encryption password once and then your user password. But I find it's easier to do it after the fact. So you have to put all these commands in. And by this time, you're already tired of typing in all those commands. And the other thing too is if you type the commands wrong, you won't be able to boot into your system. And then you're going to have to mount onto it with a thumb drive with an ISO on it to fix it. So by this time, you're already tired. So they're telling you to do this before you boot into your system. I think after the whole thing is installed. So you have to type in the encryption password twice a couple of times. But after you have Firefox up and running or your favorite web browser up and running, now we can just copy and paste into the terminal. Okay, I'm going to open up a terminal and I'm going to change the setting here to be like that. And I'm also going to go into root because I had to type in quite a few commands and I don't want to keep typing in sudo. I'm going to su into root, clear the screen. So first we have to type in this command. Look at this command. So I think it's easier to do this after the fact. I'm going to insert and I'm going to enter. Okay, so next we're going to copy this one. Put my password in. You got to put your encryption password in. And we're going to copy this one. Now we're going to copy this one. And we're going to vim into Xfce. Let's just clear the screen. We're going to vim into Xfce, crypt tab. And this time, oh, I spelled it wrong. So crypt tab this time has 2 T's. There was a command we put in earlier where it only had 1 T. Now it has 2 T's, crypt tab. So we're going to vim into there and we're going to go to the bottom. We're going to put insert. We're going to just leave some space. You don't need to leave space. I just like to. And we're going to type in my drive because that's what we called it. They're calling it VM, void VM, but we gave the encrypted partition or the encrypted drive, we gave it the name of my drive. So whatever name you gave it, you got to put in there. So we're not going to use this part. We're just going to copy this part. Okay, like that. And let's just create some space. We don't really need space. I just do it to make it look better. Let's save the file. Now, what else do we have to do? So we have to vim into there. So let's hit enter. And we have to put this line in the file. And let's just create some space. We don't really have to. Let's save the file. Now, I don't know if we need to install grub again, but I'm going to do it just in case. Okay, now we are going to run this command too. And this command, I don't know if we need to run it again, but I'm going to do it just in case. And this command takes about 10 minutes to run. So don't go away. I'll be back. Okay, finished. So it took about a good 5 minutes. So now I'm going to reboot and hopefully I did it right. And if I did it right, we should be able to boot into the system and only have to put in our encryption password once and then our user password. So this is the first time we're putting it in. And hopefully it goes right to the part where I put my user password in and then type in *X. We'll see, we'll find out. And it did it. It bypassed the second part where you have to put your encryption password in. It worked. So we fixed it. We no longer have to put in our encryption password twice. Now I'm going to put my user in, put his password in, and I'm going to type in *X. And let's put that up. I don't know why that's. Okay. So now there's just one more thing I want to show you before I go. And that's this. I'm going to plug a thumb drive in. Actually, this is the thumb drive that has the ISO on it. And I'm going to open up Nemo. And you see it's not showing up there. And we could get out of there. Let's change the set font tier -132B. That's better. Let's vim into Xinit. And let's go into the awesome window manager because I hardly showed you anything in there. Although I'm not going to really give you a tour of it, right? Just going to go in there. And I'm only going into the awesome window manager because I only spent a second in here earlier in the video after I did my install. Let's go to disks. We could go into, well, let's go into Nemo first. You see it's not showing up there, my thumb drive. Now we could go into disks. Now we could have gone into disks in the Qtile window manager too, but I just wanted to go into awesome just because I didn't spend any time in here during this video. We open up disks. Now we can see the 16 gig. Did I say 8 gig before? I hope I didn't. So we can see the 16 gig thumb drive here. Let's click it on. See here it says it's not mounted. So we can click on this arrow and now it's mounted. Now I can open up Nemo. Whoops. Now I can open up Nemo and we see it's there. Okay, we're connected. Now let's log out of here. Let's vim into Xinit. RC. Let's get rid of awesome. let's open up, let's activate Qtile, type in start X, and let's open up Nemo. We see we're connected now, right? Let's get out of there. Well, let's reboot. Sorry about that. Because I want to show you this from a fresh reboot. And I got to do sudo. I just want to show you how it's working on a fresh reboot. Put my password in. I'm putting Mench's password in after a fresh reboot. And let's just set font tier -132B. Whoop. Okay, so I pulled out the thumb drive and I did a fresh reboot and it's still working, where I only have to put the encryption password in once. So now I'm going to go into Xfce RC and I'm going to comment out Qtile and I'm going to uncomment Xfce 4. We're going to go into the Xfce 4 desktop environment. Okay. Now I'm not going to give you a whole tour of, I'm not going to give you a tour of Xfce. I'm going to type in, let's just clear the screen. Let's type in start X. And now we're in the Xfce desktop environment after a fresh boot. So now I'm going to plug in my thumb drive and let's see what happens. Let's open up our file manager down here. Let's click it on. And see, we're automatically mounted. It's showing up in the file manager and we're mounted. Okay, there it is there. It's the live ISO. I'm just using that thumb drive because I don't want you to see any of my personal stuff. I do have a thumb drive that I could use, but it has personal stuff on it. Anyways, we're automatically mounted. And we could even go to, because I have Nemo installed, right? Let's type in Nemo. Let's hit that. Now we're in Nemo, and you can see it says right here, void live. We're automatically mounted. Okay. So I came into here not to give you a tour of the Xfce desktop environment, and for some reason, I don't know why, it doesn't happen in Arch Linux or in Debian. When I go into the Awesome Window Manager or the Qtile Window Manager, no matter what file manager I use, the thumb drive doesn't show up until I go into GNOME Disks and mount it. And then it shows up in the file managers, in Qtile and the Awesome Window Manager, and I don't know why. Because like I said, it doesn't happen like that in Debian or in Arch Linux. And in here, it doesn't happen on a fresh boot. When I log into the Xfce desktop environment, it doesn't happen. Now you might be thinking, well, because you're using Thunar, doesn't matter what file manager you use. So maybe I'm missing a file, or maybe I have some configuration wrong. I don't know. In order to get if I log into the Xfce desktop environment, it mounts automatically, shows up in the file manager, but not in the Awesome Window Manager and in Qtile. I have to go into GNOME Disks or GNOME Disk Utility and mount it and then go into the file manager. Why? I don't know. And that's it. In this video, I went through a manual install of Void Linux in the TTY. I encrypted the installation. I installed the Awesome Window Manager, the Qtile Window Manager, my favorite apps and configuration files, and the Xfce desktop environment. I also showed you how to work it out so that you don't have to enter your encryption password twice. And I have to say that this is probably the hardest installation I've ever done. Now, I've never installed Gentoo, but I've installed Arch Linux the manual way with and without encryption probably 20, 30 times. But I think this is the hardest installation I've ever gone through. And this is the hardest video I've ever made. So right now at this point, I haven't edited the video yet, but I have 2 hours worth of video for this particular video, worth of recording for this video. So hopefully I can chop it down to less than an hour, but it might be more than an hour. And actually, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that Void Linux does not give you the option to encrypt a drive with their installer. Because with their installer, you can install a system with no problems in 5 to 10 minutes. And this install takes over an hour. So I don't know why, even Arch Linux in their automated installer gives you the option to encrypt your installation. And if you don't encrypt your installation, and a lot of people don't, without encryption, your installation is not secure. So I'm going to say, I think Void Linux is a good operating system. They're built on their own package manager. They're not built on top of another distribution. They're their own distribution. I think there's a lot of good things about Void Linux, but I think that they really should give you the option of encrypting the drive with their automated installer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mench.